Hi, welcome back to With Love from Mom.
Hi,
You're here with Angela and
LaTeka.
all right for another episode.
Yes, of With Love from Mom.
Another episode. So we're glad to be here. And it was a long time coming, but we're here.
Yes. And on today's episode, we're just going to talk about being a mommy warrior and just kind of defining or dealing with the different personalities of each child.
Right.
I think we mentioned that, but I don't know if we kind of elaborated on it. Right. So, to start off, I guess I will start off.
Sure.
Okay. Basically, what I think I define a mommy warrior is just a mother that's continually fighting to be the best type of mom or her best for her children and her family, and not giving a. I had an example of a mommy warrior, and I would say my mother, who is gone now, but my mother was definitely a great example of a mother that never gave up on her children.
Okay.
And my mom had 9 kids.
Okay.
And I've never seen her turn her back on any of her children. So I think that kind of puts that kind of fight in me too.
Right.
And also the Lord, of course, right? So I'm always trying to be, I know I have that in me, that example in me, or seeing that example already, but that's what I try to definitely do is, even when times get difficult or times get hard and maybe me and my children are not on the same road or mindset,
right.
You know, I'm still steadily praying for them and just trying to ask God, like, how do I go about this, or what do I do, and still praying for that child, because I know they're just probably at a point in their life where they really need their mother and they probably don't even want to receive their mother,
stages.
Yeah, they, you get to that point. I remember a time I didn't want to hear things my mom had to tell me, and thinking back on it, I was like, oh, that was very good advice. So that's kind of my definition of what a mommy warrior is. Angela, how would you define it?
Everything being a mother, even from carrying the baby.
Yeah.
Because it's something that's new, something, that you never experienced.
Yes.
Right. And, even to our new moms, I had some cousins in my family that had their first babies, and I'm like, okay, the baby is here now. I'm like, all right, you got your first strike. You're mommy warrior now. You're in the club. So it's like, it's different stages just of getting to know another side of you that you didn't know. And maybe you're a warrior in other areas, but the mommy warrior is something, because you're dealing with not just yourself, but training up and raising children who have their own personalities, who are going to have their own testimony that we have no clue what that will be or what it will look like. So we're warrior, we're on our knees, disciplining, and all the things that come with it, things in the home that need to be done, and taking care of them before they even learn or know how to take care of themselves. So it's just a lot, and it comes with it, for me. I mean, I know it's something that we all don't say, but to me, a mommy warrior, it is what it is. You're just a warrior on another level.
Yes.
It's outside of yourself. So, and I too experienced that, my mother, because, and I think a lot of it comes from how we're parented, and how we parent are based on the experiences that we've had. How we were treated, whether it was good or bad. And so one of the things that my mother did was, she felt like, my kids, they're going to come first, because she experienced being in a relationship with her parents where, her stepfather, he was first, someone that she didn't know that came into the home. And so by the time my brother and I got here, it was like, oh no, they're going to know. They're number one on my list, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. So, but those are the things that you work out, and when God is in the midst, and he's in your family, it's just, he knows how to work out all the kinks and get things right and put things back into perspective. Amen. So the mommy warrior is a lot of things, and you're a warrior pretty much until we are gone out of here,
Yes.
And so, I love it. So when you from birth up until
Till you're
whatever,
gone.
you have so many different experiences,
Yeah.
that come with it. Like you said, just when they feel like hearing your mouth,
Mhm.
and when they don't, when
Mhm.
you're supposed to say something, and you push anyway when you don't want to.
Yes.
Get out my
When you
face. I
don't
don't want
want
to say
to.
anything.
Right.
Go ahead, bust your head. I don't care.
Because you done just made me so angry right about now.
Right. But yeah, and then it's a nurturing too.
Yes.
Warrior knowing how to balance it all. Learning how to be the warrior, but yet still love and nurture. So
I
it's a
like
lot of
that.
things. Yeah.
I like that nurturing part because sometimes, like you said, if it happens where you get angry and you want to say get out of my face and you still pushing through that,
Yeah.
you have to nurture them as opposed to being angry with them, and that takes a lot of strength from God. I tell you, that takes a lot of strength from God because it's like you really don't want to deal with them at that time.
Yeah.
You might want to, hurt them at that time. But God gives you the strength to love on them and pray for them and say kind things to them when you want to just chop at them. And I know I have boys, so sometimes I have to get a little dogmatic. That's kind of like my personality anyways, but just sometimes I have to get a little dogmatic just to kind of let them know, like, okay, you a guy and you a man, and I ain't trying to challenge your manhood, but I'm gonna challenge you right here, and you're not gonna produce what you're producing right now. You're gonna do better. And so that's a part of warring, too. Like, no, I'm gonna get. No, we're gonna get the best out of you. We're gonna get the best out of you. You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like this discipline. You're not gonna like that it doesn't make you feel good. And that's how God is with us, right? We don't like the discipline sometimes, but we're thankful for the result that it brings. And so yeah, definitely a mommy warrior is from maternity, from being pregnant, and to whenever you leave this earth.
From the womb to the tomb.
Good. Yes. From the womb to the tomb. Yes.
Oh my goodness. No, but when you were talking, I thought about just even the warrior, even on the personal level, because we have this. I don't want to say a stigma because it's not a stigma, but it just is what it is. So we're a person and we have feelings and we have emotions, right? So even when we're considering our children, their emotions, their feelings, whatever they're going through, we're teaching them, helping them through it, guiding them, and all those things. We also deal with our own disappointments because they disappoint us too.
Yes, yeah.
They make us angry too, especially if we feel like we taught you. Especially if we feel like, you're doing things purposely to rebel, or even we get hurt because they're hurting, but we deal with our emotions as well as theirs. And that right there, it is something that we have to be careful about. That's just giving a quick scenario when people say when you're angry with your child, that's not a time to spank. If you spank your child because you don't want to do anything out of anger.
Yes.
Right. So even managing your own emotions while you're parenting and who you are. So it's a lot. It's a lot, but it can be done.
Yeah.
And definitely, I know for me, and I know for you too, prayer.
Yes.
And being honest. Being honest with yourself, being honest with your emotions, and being able to communicate it.
Yes.
And that's one of the things I had to even learn with my children, because how most of us were taught, I don't know everybody's ages out there, but I know for people in our age group,
okay,
you learn through trial and error.
Yes.
Sometimes there was no explanation. Most of the time there was no explanation. You just learn that you weren't supposed to do certain things by the consequence.
Right.
And so one of the things I had to learn early with my children was, I remember one time I went to go spank one of my children because they did something. And it was like, just the Lord, just stop, just a small voice was like, did you teach them that though?
Right. Good.
Do they know not to do that? And I kind of stopped like, wait a minute, and so that started, just me explaining things a little bit more. My mom, after a while, she was like, you talk too much, But it made sense. If I teach you and you want to continue to do things on your own the wrong way anyway, then there's consequences for those things. And so I taught a lot, but that's part of that, just being able to gauge and balance how you're going to discipline and raise your children up. I forgot why I even said that again, but
no.
Go ahead.
No, because it makes sense though, right? To teach your child first before you go out and try to discipline. I know I was saying, I think how some of my children, I just have to talk, explain, give reason or whatever, because you want them to be their best, right? You're not just trying to discipline them, because everything we have is motivated. Our love for them is motivated through God, right? It's motivated through love. And so one thing I think, like you said, we just learned, like, some things we didn't get any conversation. We're just going to get hit, or the discipline, we'll say, or the consequences of our actions if our parents didn't like them. But I didn't get a lot of whoopings anyway. I know, and I used to think, this is a crazy thought that I had. Okay. That because I didn't get a lot of whoopings, I needed to give a lot of whoopings because I was out of control. So that was my mindset.
Partly true.
Right? I was out of control because I didn't get any whoopings, So I felt like, with my first child, it was a lot of trial and error because I was like, okay, I need to, discipline because I didn't get any whoopings. If I discipline, this ain't happening this way. Terrible. So, that was a mistake.
So you were one of those people in the group. Because you hear about the kids that, the baby boomers or whoever, they said they weren't going to spank their children because they got abused. And so I was like, well, shoot, that didn't happen to me. I'm not in that group. But so, okay, that's interesting.
I was the opposite one. And so when I hear people, because I've heard someone tell me that, like, oh, I don't want my son because I used to get abused or whatever like that. And I'm like, that's why your son out of control. Or your child is out of control. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts because I thought the opposite. I thought I was an out of control child.
Wow, that's
who didn't get disciplined, and so I needed to make sure I disciplined. And discipline works. And anything if I'm
for both parties,
right?
Receiving
But just if we think out out of a broad spectrum, like I have athletes, my boys and my daughter. Everybody is very athletic, and they get that from my husband, right?
That's good.
And so with them playing a sport, I found out them being disciplined and practicing and disciplined and stretching and disciplined and putting the necessary time in, they were better at that sport, correct? So I'm saying all this to say it's definitely important to teach your child, as opposed to just going at it, oh, you just doing it, because I saw both the negative effects. Like, did you take the time to teach that child this or whatever? I remember my sister, she shared with me how she was like, after we discipline our children, we talk to them and explain and, have a conversation. And I'm like, wow, you do that? Because I used to be no nonsense, just go, you in trouble, we ain't talking about anything. So I can understand, like you said, your mother said you talk too much, because that was her age. It's like, no, we're not talking. No, you need to know better,
Right.
And so I'm glad the Lord gave you that idea. Like, did you teach them? Did you tell them, parents, did we teach our children why you shouldn't be stealing? Did you teach them why you shouldn't be lying? Did you teach them why they, shouldn't be littering? Did you teach them?
Hear my conversation.
Right. But that's a conversation that I have with my kids. Did you teach them why you need to clean up after yourself?
Yeah.
Did you teach them, about wiping off the counters? And do you have to continue to teach them? Yes. As a warrior, you keep instilling them the right values or whatever, and then if you see the negative consequence, then they have to face the consequences of I didn't taught you, and so nothing can, I guess, be said to kind of say, well, mommy didn't tell me this, or I didn't know, no, because we had a conversation and I taught you, and remember, blah 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 blah. But so
I had an aunt that told me when my children were little, but it's funny because I have groups. So like the first group, the first 5, was a lot more teaching and discipline. In the second group, I have to get back to what I used to do. But she used to say, do it early. She's no longer with us. I miss her. But she used to say, do it early before they get to school.
Yeah.
So that way, by the time they get to school, you won't have to go up to the school. Your teachers won't be calling.
Yeah.
But just that discipline or just the training. Not so much that we're saying you got to spank them all the time, but just so that they'll know better and know right from wrong, even though they still will do certain things. Because then by the time they get to school, then they get to see their options of how they can act.
Yes. And they know what's
Tommy, he can throw things at the teacher, they want to try it out. Yeah, so I mean, it's continually.
Yeah,
so we have to do it all the time.
Because they know mommy don't get me. We can't throw things in my house. That's true. Yeah, and I agree with that.
So I'm always teaching.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, because I think with my first child, I taught her, early, and so I know my second son, I gave him a lot of leeway. My second child. And my daughter be looking like, what? Like, mommy, like, you let him get away, But I let him get away because I thought I was too hard on her. Yeah. And so, mommies, we make mistakes, and we got to learn how to balance it out because I think I needed more discipline with him, now that he's older and less with her. So you're going to make mistakes, but, thank God, God's going to pick up those areas where you made a mistake.
That's true.
And just like he picked up, the areas where my parent didn't just do all the perfect things. And no parent does all, everything correctly. But God will pick up in those areas and perfect you and make you, to who he wants you to be. And I thank God for where I am now, where I am now. So.
And then I know, too, one of the things that you pointed out was the difference between is the sex. So you have the female and you have the male. And I know even with mine, even though I have mostly girls, my son didn't come the eighth time. But yeah, so I know there's a difference of discipline too. So I feel like, my parents probably were a little harder on me, but at the end of the day, God, he does make up the difference, but there is a difference, I think, between female and male, it's like you have to be hard. And I find myself, I had all the girls, but because he's the only boy, I'm like, get off of him. So I try not to be on him too much, but he still probably needs it. Yeah. Just the extra discipline because he is the boy, and boys are just different. They're gonna push the button and go ahead, because you can speak on it more. Well, he's only 8.
I'm just thinking because I think I mentioned this. I was saying like, I don't try to be so hard on my boys because I don't want to, minimize them as boys and, as seeing, this woman is just, crazy or whatever, even though they think that I am. But
I need to know that too.
Right. But for some reason, I see that my sons, they take discipline better from their father. And my daughter take it better from me. Right. And so, I have boys, but I discipline them. But when daddy speaks, it's over. And I wish it would be like that with me. And a lot of people say, well, why isn't, aren't your sons like that with you or whatever? But I know that I can be so hard. I don't want to go to that hard place with them, Because I don't want to make them have that type of, I guess, aggression with women. So
you made me think of something. Right. You made me think of something. It's funny because when I started having my children, of course, when they were just girls, my brother, who was younger than I am, he was like, you having all these girls, you seem like you were a boy mama. You should have boys. And I'm like, I can be a girl mama too. What? But now I see, but because I had godchildren, they were boys.
Okay.
And so where my good friend, where she, wouldn't, really discipline them. Not that she wasn't one to discipline, but if I saw them cutting up, I would hop on it. Like, boy, what you doing? I'll be the reinforcer. Yeah. And that's just how it was. Yeah. I'll get with you. What? Yeah. But I'm grateful that I have my girls too, because I'm like, okay, I don't need to.
I'm laughing because I can't get with the boys. I'm on another level, and they'll be like, woo. But I understand what you're saying. Like, I can get in and jump in, but I think me, I'm what is it? We gonna who the craziest and who's the baddest mom, and I can't go there, right? Right. You're like, no, and moms, you can't go there. So I'll just leave it up to my husband, and he does a great job with it.
They do. And you said something that made me think. It's like, you don't want them to get to a point where they're not respectful of women.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They should have a certain amount of, you know, fear or know that, okay, yeah, my mom, if she need to get down my throat, she can, you know, and I will listen. But they don't need to get to a point where it's like you're fighting with them, because then where's that respect going to come later on towards the woman, the girlfriend, you know, the wife. So that was very good. So it's like, I think, and a lot of it should be. And so a lot of time I don't like to, but I'll call my husband, call my son, and be like, look, your daddy.
We don't like to, no. Daddy don't play, because daddy, men recognize men and women recognize women. And so, you know, it's kind of like the girls, they know they can't put certain things on you, right? My girls, they know they can't put certain things, but they can go to daddy, and daddy be like, oh, you know, and baby them. And just like, you know, the opposite, the boys know they can't put certain things on daddy, but they come to mommy, and mommy kind of softer. So I know it was definitely designed to be that way, you know. But it's just it's an interesting, you know, dynamic, just having so many boys and having so many girls, right? It's just to see like the type of people that we are, because you know, you said you would have thought of yourself to be well, your brother said he would have thought of you to be a boy's mommy.
I don't think I had a preference.
I don't think I did either. And I had to learn with both of them.
Right, you do. Either way, you still have to learn with both.
I had to learn how to, you know, calm myself down. When I said I had to learn with both of them, I had to learn how to calm myself down and be a mother that showed love, you know, as opposed to discipline all the time, or just to be a mother that, you know, they can come to, you know. And or, you know, and it took a lot of trial and error. It took a lot of listening to other people, what they doing, and that's why it's important to have a group, right? That's why it's important to get information. That's why it's important to seek out help, because you only know what you know, you know, you only know what you've seen, you know, and so I thank God that I've been one that can look at other experience and take some in, but I also thank God for those people who took the time to put me aside, or just share it with me, and not withhold, you know, hold those things to themselves, because sometimes it's scary to share, you know, like I do this or I do that. You feel like people is going to judge you, or people are going to you know, look at you wrong, or say, well, you shouldn't do that, you know, because there goes that opinion again. Everybody say what you should or shouldn't do, but you have to have a certain value to what we're talking about, right? You have that value of, we're trying to raise, you know, great godly children, and children that respect women and respect men, and respect their household, respect themselves, you know. And so, you know, with that being said, you know, it goes back to your values when you're raising your children, and you know, and how you want to raise them, and what you're trying to, you know, get out of them. And like you said, we don't know what they're going to be, but all we know is what we pour into them, you know. And if we do our part, hey, everything else is up to God. That's it. We just do our part that He's taught us to do, or given us to do, and and go forth and continue to fight for them, you know, and continue to fight whether they not listening to you anymore. You know, because I have that stage too, that I've been through, that, you know, they don't listen. They get to a point that I ain't listening. You know, they don't say it outright, of course. But they're not listening.
Actions,
and you know it. And you just say, Lord, you know, just have your way in my child. Touch their heart, touch their mind, Lord. But, so I just thank God for that. Just thank God for teaching me how to deal with the personalities, you know. And teaching me to continue to war, you know, from birth to the tomb. Was it right? From the womb to the tomb. Just teaching me, you know, God teach our people how to war, you know. That's something we definitely should pray for when we see new mothers, you know. Teach them how to war for their children, because that child is going to make a difference later on in life in somebody. And one time I put up on my little whiteboard in my house, my children are the next. God gave me that. Like they are the next. My kids are like, what? They are the next what? You know, these are the next generation. This is the next generation that we're raising for God. So we got to be mindful of this generation we're putting out there, you know. It starts with us as moms, you know. And so
I'm glad you said again about the warring for them. And so, and you brought up too, you know, the fact that we're able to learn from each other. And I think in the podcast before, I don't think we really dove or talked much about what the Mommy Warrior is. And so Mommy Warrior is doing this here too. being able
Yes.
to learn from one another, because we put each other down, or people are looking at you, judging you, like what you doing, what your child got on, where y'all go, or did you send them to summer camp, those things. And it's just like, it's not what it's about, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with some real personal things within, and you're developing personal, things within your children,
Right.
Traits and characteristics. And like you said, our ultimate goal is to raise respectful, godly children who are also going to be responsible and contribute to, to the world, however that looks, and wherever God places them. And so that's very personal. And so when you feel like you can't be free to talk about certain things or ask questions, like how did you deal with this particular situation with your child? If you don't feel like you have that within your community, then you're going to feel by yourself. But that's why I like so much when they say it takes a village.
Yes, and it's true.
And I don't really like, saying it all the time, but it does. And it takes a community of people. And a lot of times I'll say, I'm all for the village. I love the village, but it's picked.
Yeah, that's what I love that. Because I like the village got to have my type of values, but it's picked. I love that.
It's picked.
I love that.
It's picked, and then sometimes God will even send people your way that you never even thought. Sometimes it's teachers. And I'm finding that even more so with my children's school. But that support.
That's true.
Yeah, that support is very important. And so, that's why with Love from Mom is so important, to us too, because we're building a space where women can come. Hey, I don't have it all figured out.
Yeah.
These my areas I'm weak in this area, but if I can learn from you and you're willing to share and we share with each other, that's how we learn.
Yes.
And we support each other, and then not only that, but in our children, they'll get to see that as well. I feel like if they can do it in the schools, why can't we do it in our homes? How they have people work together on projects and things like that. It's like they're teaching them how to be sociable and learn from one another. Okay, hey, we can do this too.
Yes.
Inside of our homes and together as a community of mothers.
Yes.
So that's another reason why it's so important to us. And so I'm glad that we have this time to share and get to, learn more about ourselves, even in the process of us doing these podcasts, and just standing boldly, as mommy warriors.
Amen. So mamas, fight on.
Fight on, right?
What's the scripture say? Know that your labor is not in vain.
Right.
And Lord, so if you're doing it, motivated to raise the type of children,
right,
that are great for the society, are godly, they have a mind to, help,
right,
their community or just help others. You're doing well, and it starts with us. So mamas, war on, war on, pray on, yes, pray on. So
we'll be back.
Yeah,
stay tuned. Follow us, please. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, and wherever you're listening. I know right now it's on Spotify and Anchor. So subscribe and share with other mothers. And continue to listen, pray for us.
Yes.
And we'll continue. We're definitely praying for you all. And if you have any prayer requests or anything, send them to us.
Amen.
And send them to us, and we'll definitely be praying. And because right now, this day and time, we need all the prayers.
Amen.
All mothers, all parents, families, everywhere. If you're raising children, so much that we have to contend with right now. But we're going to make it.
Yes, we are.
All right.
With the help of God. Lastly, I want to say, if you have any questions or any topics that you want to discuss, please also send those in too.
Yes.
We definitely don't mind, discussing things. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
Right.
We want to help you. We want to know what's on your mind. So after you subscribe, send us a little email or something.
Yes.
And let us know, like, look, I'm having this problem, that problem, and we can discuss it and talk about it if we've dealt with it or
Yes.
If whatever we know about it. So
yes. And we're gonna have more people come on too as guests, and we're gonna just continue to build digitally. So you'll hear us, and then also we'll be doing some things within the community. So so just stay tuned and keep us in prayer. Thank you so much for taking the time out to listen.
Yes.
And God bless y'all.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye.
I feel better about that one.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Fine. We can edit that out. That's fine.